Everyone, welcome to the show. I have more stories to share with you about businesses that are just getting hammered by Donald Trump's idiocy. I also have news about the state of the economy and how people are feeling about it. And Trump just admitted on camera that his economy sucks. So you guys are going to want to stay tuned for that. Before I get into all of those details, though, please do me a huge favor. Click subscribe. It is a free way you can help the show bring more awareness to what's going on in our country. So here's what's going down. As you all may have heard, this happened yesterday. The economy, or the report came out yesterday. The economy shrank by 0.3%. That was in the first 3 months of the year, first quarter. You can see in this GDP chart that with the exception of the first quarter of 2022, the economy had been consistently growing over the past 3 years. It then dropped off at the beginning of this year. And economists warned that, we are going to see a slowdown, but this was way worse than what they anticipated. They thought it was going to slow, but they expected to still see growth. So they thought it would be, smaller, not as strong of growth, slower growth. But yeah, it's, not anything like what we're seeing now. And so they're also concerned by what they're seeing as far as future growth. The director of the Center for Economic Research at George Washington University, she told the Washington Post, quote, "The weakness this quarter is also a preview of weakness in the future quarters. We are seeing a dramatic change in people's behavior, similar to what we saw during the shock of the pandemic. Their front-loading purchases they might have made later in the year, and that's very concerning for future quarters." And then beyond tariffs, or actually it may have been a man that said that, but anyway, it's neither here nor there. And beyond the tariffs, consumers are very concerned about all the layoffs that they're seeing. So this morning, Forbes reported that layoffs fell from March to April because we saw that, huge spike in March because of all the Doge layoffs. But they said on a year over year basis, it was up quite a bit. So there were just over 105,000 layoffs in April. And if you compare that to April of 2024, layoffs are up 60%. And they reported almost half of all the layoffs this year, all of 2025 so far, almost half of them were from Doge. And, we all know they didn't do a damn thing, right? It didn't reduce government spending. So you're destroying people's lives for no reason. And because of Trump's tariffs, more layoffs are inevitable. I mean, there's no two ways about it. Check out this report from MSNBC about dock workers and shipping ports and all this stuff.
At America's ports, we're hearing big changes are coming. The Port of Los Angeles expects shipping volume to drop by 35% next week as companies begin to cut their import orders. And specialty retailers, toy makers, they're already pausing Christmas orders. That could have significant impact. More than 80% of toys are made in Chinese factories.
These numbers are significant, and it will bleed all the way down the supply chain until it hits consumers, starting, of course, with the longshoremen who work the port. There's about 15,000 of them in this area. 54% live in or around this direct area. They, of course, are worried about a reduction of hours. They're worried about what that means for layoffs and their livelihoods, of course, tied to this, not to mention, of course, the coffee shops and the pizza shops and the barber shops in this area, but also the wholesalers and the truckers who depend on this amount of cargo for what they do. We spoke to the port CEO about what's going to happen next. Here's what he says they are worried about right now. Listen to this.
I will say this is unique in all my years in this industry. We're not hitting the panic button yet. But again, I'm focused on some of the smaller businesses. A trucker who's hauling 4 or 5 containers today may only be hauling 2 or 3 next week or two. Same thing with the warehouse workers, and our dock workers who have been getting overtime and full work weeks may have to scale that back as well.
So, they're talking a lot about toys and stuff because the suppliers really have to order, I should say the store owners really have to order from their suppliers now in order to get their orders on the books in time for the holiday season. Because I know people are going like, we just hit May. Why are we talking about toys and Christmas and everything? Right. And Donald Trump is like, oh, well, you might have to get your child 2 dolls instead of 30. I mean, first of all, how wildly out of touch he is. Right. I mean, some people can't afford 1 doll for their child. And he's talking about it in terms of, oh, well, yeah, you won't be able to buy 30 dolls for your child. I mean, freaking such an elitist asshole. But anyway, speaking of games, we got some other news about a game maker, and it was from Microsoft. So they announced they're increasing the price of their Xbox and their games. And this is to offset the tariff tax. So the console is now going to be at least 20% more. And then some of their games are going to increase to $80. Other small companies, though, they're probably not going to make it through this Trump created disaster. There's a family owned business called WS Game Company. They were featured at one point on Oprah's favorite things list. I think it was last year, 2024. Their games are all produced in China, and the company is in serious trouble. The AP said over the past 3 weeks, WS Game has had 3 of their containers that contain finished games stranded in China because of the costs. And those 3 containers are valued at $500,000. And WS Game, they just lost orders from 3 of the largest US retailers that they had, worth $16 million in business. I mean, that is monumental. And, this is not a large company. They have like 22 employees or something. The owner is a man named Jonathan Silva, and he told the AP, quote, as a small business, we don't have the runway or the capabilities to move manufacturing on a whim. And he said that the tariffs have, quote, disrupted our business and put us on the verge of insolvency. So according to Silva, the company can only stay afloat for about 4 more months. So if the tariff war lasts longer than that, they're done. This is a company that's been in business for 25 years, and now they may be out of business in 4 months because of Donald Trump. And then the AP spoke with another business owner. It's a guy named Jeremy Rice. He owns a home decor shop in Kentucky. And I guess a large part of their business is artificial flowers. And so they source products through companies that get the product from China. So apparently, China is one of the only countries that manufactures, according to them, these high quality silk flowers. And Rice said it would take years for someone else to open a factory in another country or to move production somewhere else. So they don't have time. And several of their vendors have already raised their prices like 20 to 25%. So he said he already ordered or pre-ordered for the holidays. But again, Rice told the AP he only has enough inventory currently, like pre-holiday inventory, to last about 2 to 3 months. After that, Rice said, quote, I don't know what we're going to do. There's nowhere to turn. There's nothing to do. So another small business that may be going under because of this ridiculous tariff war that Donald Trump started for no reason. Lisa McDonald is another owner that they spoke with. She owns a tea shop in Michigan. She imports her products from not only China, but India, Kenya, Sri Lanka, other countries, she said. And McDonald told the AP, quote, We can't grow tea in the US to the extent that we need. We can't just flip the industry and make tea great again in America. It just can't happen. The AP also spoke with someone named Jim Uloff. I think that's how you pronounce it. He is the owner of a company called 6K9 or 4K9s. Excuse me, I don't know where I got the six. Oh, I do know. Anyway, I'm not going to say it. This is a show for children as well. So anyway, it's 4K9s, and his company manufactures seat covers, cargo liners for dogs, dog owners. So he gets his raw material to make these things from China. And Umlauf told the AP he has plenty of demand, but the tariffs are making it almost impossible to keep the company going. He said, quote, "We only have a limited amount of inventory left, and without some relief, we'll run out soon. It's time for policymakers to consider the full impact of trade policies, not just on stock prices or global competitiveness, but on the real people running small businesses." So, all of this is making business owners and consumers extremely nervous. The University of Michigan tracks consumer sentiment, and the director of their consumer surveys said that consumer expectations, meaning what consumers expect over the next 6 months, they have dropped now 30% since January. 30% decline just in the last 3+ months. And she said that this is the sharpest decline that they've seen since the recession of 1990. And according to Redfin Real Estate, they did a survey. They said approximately 1 in 4 Americans are now canceling making plans, or their previous plans, I guess, that they had to make large purchases. So things like a car, like a home. And people are saying, I'm worried about the tariffs. I'm worried about Trump's tariffs, so we're going to just sit tight. Also, Market Watch news outlet reported mortgage delinquencies have just increased. They increased in March 14% on a year-over-year basis. So, I mean, you now have more Americans losing their jobs, more Americans who can't pay their mortgage, more businesses that might be going under because of these tariffs. You have economic skepticism at a 30-year high, but the majority of Republican lawmakers, they refused just this week to do anything to help. So just yesterday, all but 3 Republicans in the Senate voted against a resolution that would have taken the tariff power back from Trump and given it back to Congress, which is how it's supposed to work. Congress is allowed to enact tariffs, not Donald Trump. So he has stolen that. Again, using some, just like his Alien Enemies Act, he uses this fake, emergency. Oh my gosh, we've got to do something about this emergency. It's the fentanyl. Really? Where? I'm not saying that fentanyl isn't an issue, but how exactly are these tariffs that are destroying small businesses? How are they going to help with the fentanyl? Right? So only Senators Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, and Rand Paul voted with the Democrats to try to stop it, to take the tariff power back for themselves and stop this lunacy. Unfortunately, Mitch McConnell and I think it was, I forget which Democratic lawmaker, but the two of them were both out. So Mitch McConnell is sick, and then the Democratic lawmaker was in another country. And so they couldn't vote. And so it ended up being a tie, and it blocked this resolution. So I hope Americans remember this. I hope they remember this betrayal in the midterms, because Donald Trump is literally imposing an extra tax on every single American and every single business owner, and Republican lawmakers do not give a damn. According to Donald Trump, all of this fallout, this is all Biden's fault. I don't know if you guys saw this, but here's what he had to say after hearing that the economy had slowed in the first quarter. Take a look.
Core GDP, and this is, you probably saw some numbers today. And I have to start off by saying that's Biden. That's not Trump, because we came in on January, this is the quarterly numbers, and we came in and I was very against everything that Biden was doing in terms of the economy, destroying our country.
So how that reads to me is that's an admission by Trump that the economy is horrible, right? I mean, if he thought that the economy was doing great, then he would be taking credit for it. He would be saying, oh, this is all me. No, it's doing well because of me, right? Whether it was his doing or not, he would claim that it was his doing. So he knows deep down, he knows damn well that his tariffs are a complete and total disaster and that he screwed up. That's the same reason why he didn't want Amazon posting the tariff fee on their websites. And the polling reflects the American people are not buying it. The vast majority of Americans say, no, this is his mess. This is Donald Trump's America now. This is his economy, and he is the one screwing this up. That's why his poll numbers are so low. That's why people don't trust him on the economy anymore after years and years of that being one of his best issues. So, yeah, I don't wish for these businesses to go under. I hope that they figure out a way to make it work. On the other hand, I hope that that's true. I also hope that Americans see this, realize what a disaster it is, and will still vote against the Republicans in the midterms, because this could be stopped today. This could have been stopped yesterday if the Republicans had just voted with the Democrats and taken their power back. But because they are such cucks for Donald Trump, because they are so intimidated by him and his base, and they don't want to speak out, they don't want to be on his bad side, they are going along with this, which they know, they have to know that this is a nightmare situation for them when it comes to the midterms. So there you go, guys. I will keep an eye out for more stories about more small businesses that are struggling so that everybody understands what's going on, how bad this is in our country right now. But yeah, please like this video, share it with everyone you know, become a subscriber if you have not. Would appreciate if you could donate. Last month was not good as far as the revenue generated here on YouTube. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's just a sign of the economy or what, but yeah, any way you can help out, truly appreciate it. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.